Welcome to Chef Alli's Farm Fresh Kitchen. It's time to gather around the table to cook and converse. Right here, we'll come together to learn about Kansas agriculture and the farm families that feed us as we discover new recipes, Kansas products, and farm fresh ingredients.
Good morning and welcome back to 13 News this morning. It's Thursday, Chef Alli time in our Farm Fresh Kitchen, the only day of the week. Well, it's kind of like every other week. I wear an apron with you.
Keep calm. I appreciate it.
Farm
on.
I do anything for this woman because she feeds us well. And what we're doing today, celebrating, fittingly so, National Ice Cream Month, right, Alli?
Yes, we are. We are. And so that's why we're having brown bread ice cream, which you said you've never had, brown bread ice cream.
I've had a rendition or so of brown bread, but not from like some of the local places.
And it's kind of like gooseberry pie and some of those other things, that there's a really bad brown bread and there's a really good brown bread. And if you ever get the good one, you will never want any other kind of ice cream. And so that's what we have here today.
Okay.
I grew up, my grandpa always used to take me to Shawnee Creamery when I was like 5 or 6 years old, and he would get me brown bread ice cream. That's how I got hooked on it. And so that's our recipe for today, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I wanted to also mention that recently I went to Oldie Dairy up in north central Kansas. Well, it's just north of Manhattan at Lynn. They're an average size dairy actually for the state of Kansas. Most of the dairies are about that size. They milk 1,150 cows.
That's a lot of cows.
24/7. There's 3 shifts a day. I learned it takes about 4.5 minutes to milk each cow. But the coolest thing was how they utilize technology to make for sure that all of their cows are healthy and happy, because yes, right there. What is that?
This is a Fitbit. And she was telling me before, they use them on cows?
They have Fitbits for cows.
Really?
Yes.
Do they hit their step goal every day, I wonder?
Well,
they don't want to.
They don't want to.
Right,
yeah, because a cow that's moving along or moving around a lot, that's a sign that there's probably something wrong, which could be maybe she doesn't feel well, or maybe she's just in her heat cycle. But a happy cow is a cow that's laying or standing, they're just calm. And that's how we saw most of the cows to be. We went into the freestall barn and the cows were all laying on a bed of sand, which is really cool because sand cannot grow any bacteria. And so that's why they have the cows laying on that. The water that they use to cool the milk externally is recycled, and they either wash the sand with that or they give it to the cows to drink. So it was really neat to see how they utilize that. But the other part of technology that they have that I was so amazed in is when you go into the milking barn, and they put the unit, they call it the claw, which that's a kind of a harsh name, but they put the unit up on the udder, and then they have this technology that communicates. There's a sensor in the cow's ear, and so it can communicate with that sensor. So the sensor tells them how much milk she's producing. It can track her diet. I mean, it's just really amazing because, again, if there's a fluctuation in her milk production, that can be a sign that maybe she's not feeling well. So they have all this access to information right at their fingertips to make for sure that their whole herd is, feeling well and happy and healthy.
And all of that translates into this.
Into our
ice
milk.
cream
That's
and milk
right.
and dairy products.
Yeah. And this is a super easy ice cream to make. The recipe will be up on the blog at Chef Alli's Farm Fresh Kitchen. You're just going to make a custard based ice cream that you cook on the stove. You'll put that into your ice cream maker, add a little bit of milk to fill it up, churn that until it's nice and solid, and then ahead of time what you've made, this is the brown bread that you have toasted with butter and sugar and cinnamon. That goes into your ice cream. So you've got the creamy and the crunchy, and it's just a totally good gig.
It's all online if you want to make
is.
your own brown bread ice cream.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything on your Facebook page?
There may be, so just check it out. You never know what you're going to find on Chef Alli's Facebook page.
You never know. That
You
is
don't know.
that is a
Yeah,
true statement.
so go there and see.
It's fascinating to hear about the technology that it takes.
At the dairy. It was awesome.
My great-grandmother
It was
grew up in
wonderful.
Wisconsin, and she grew up on a dairy farm, and she would always say how extreme it was. And for her to see this today versus what it was back then, I can only imagine the difference.
Yeah, it's just so cool. If you ever get the chance to go visit a Kansas dairy, do it, because you would just be in awe of what they're doing.
Did you bring a spoon?
I did.
Okay,
It's
good.
right here.
I'll take that.
Here, yeah,
All right, we'll be
use
right
that.
back.
Thanks for joining us. Kansas Farm Bureau is proud to support hardworking families across the state, like farmers and ranchers who make it their life commitment to provide food that nourishes all of us. Kansas Farm Bureau, representing grassroots agriculture.